Tabea Meier. I'm a psychologist and a scientific collaborator here at CCHEF at the University of Geneva. And my background is in developmental psychology, so I'm interested in healthy aging and how people change as they get older. And I'm particularly interested in the role of social relationships in our health and well-being across the lifespan. A lot of this research has been conducted with individuals, and we know that we humans are very social as a species, so a lot of my research is conducted with two people, and I'm particularly interested in the role of social relationships and emotions on healthy aging, on our health and well-being across the lifespan. So typically we invite people to our lab, so that could be either romantic couples or sometimes also other types of close relationships such as friendship pairs. And typically we let them have conversations with each other and we observe them, we observe how they communicate with each other, for example, what kind of emotions that they express in their conversations, the physiology, such as their heart rate, what type of language that they use. And then I'm interested in how these emotional processes that we observe in interactions between close relationship partners, how they relate to aspects of their well-being. Yes, so it's interesting because language use, it really depends on the context. Also, for example, whether, so the context could be what type of conversations they have, if it's a rather positive conversation or if it's a conflict, or if one partner is stressed and the other partner is trying to support the person. So typically we assume that using a high rate of we pronouns is a positive sign because it reflects community and shared identity. But sometimes it's also necessary to place the focus just on one person. So for example, when one partner feels stressed and is revealing some personal information, then using a lot of you pronouns, for example, and convey empathy relates to higher relationship functioning. So sometimes we try to move this research out of the lab and observe the natural conversations that people have with close others. So recently we conducted a study where younger and older couples recorded some daily conversations that they had with their romantic partner in that case. And we actually found similarities. So we looked at age differences here. For example, older couples in their everyday conversations with their partner, they showed a greater sense of we-ness compared to younger couples. So they use more we pronouns, which probably reflects their greater relationship history and also a greater priority that they place on close relationships, which we often find in older adults. So as the future time perspective becomes more limited, typically meaningful and close relationships become even more prioritized than earlier in life. And on the other hand, younger couples were more emotionally expressive in the sense, for example, that they laughed more together and maybe were more playful together. So I would say all of us are getting older, even though we sometimes don't want to admit it. So aging is also a lifelong process actually. So it doesn't only start once we're in our 60s or 70s, but the relationships we have earlier in life or the behaviors and decisions we make earlier in life can also impact our well-being later in life. So for this reason, I would say that this type of research is important for everyone. And I aim for my research to generate new scientific insights that we learn more about how we can benefit from the social connections that we have. So there's lots of positive processes in close relationships. So for example, when we feel stressed, we can lean on close others who can support us. But we also know that close relationships can sometimes be very challenging to navigate, especially when conflicts arise, for example. So I aim for my research to generate more insights into how we can benefit from the social connections that we have, and also how to best deal with our emotions in a healthy way, for these insights to then be eventually translated into interventions and also practical recommendations for daily life, so just to overall support healthy aging. So previously I mostly focused on social relationships and emotions in aging. And now I would like to combine that with cognitive aging. So in this new research project, I'm interested in the role of stress for memory performance. The focus is on prospective memory. It's a type of memory that is highly relevant for our daily functioning, and especially in aging as well, because it helps us to maintain an independent life. And also this type of memory is very prone to failure. So for example, when you think of the last time you made a memory error in your daily life, there's quite a big chance it was a prospective memory failure. So this makes it important to study situational factors that can impact prospective memory performance, such as stress. In another upcoming research project, I'm interested in the lack of social connection. So loneliness, which is a very big topic nowadays. And yes, in this research project, we are interested in strategies people can use to make them feel less lonely and feel more socially connected in their everyday life. So loneliness is not only just uncomfortable and a big burden, but especially when it happens repeatedly over time, it can have negative health consequences, especially in older adulthood. And it is therefore important to find strategies that people can use directly in moments when they feel lonely to minimize this burden.